And here we are for a little morning meditation time. Um, since moving to Texas, my sleeping habits have been bad. Um, not what they used to be. Even when I was in Panama, I had a pretty routine schedule, um, but it hadn't been that good since moving to Texas. Um, Probably stay up too late. Don't get up early like I usually do. Um, and I decided, you know what? Let's get up this morning. Let's begin a new habit of sitting for a while and maybe sharing a little bit of the Dharma online in hopes of doubling my meditation efforts. So, a morning and evening uh, sit. And so that's what I hope to do. I hope today is a new start for that. Um, I am going to read to you guys a little bit uh, in a moment, and then we're going to sit with a little nature background playing um, that I think is very uh, morning, morning in nature type of sounds. I find it very relaxing, and I hope it sets the tone for um, a good day and maybe a good practice. So that's what I hope to do today. As I do before each session, I do pay homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So again, thank you guys for joining me this morning. It's going to be I haven't done a morning session since I lived in Panama, and it's been something I've been really wanting to do. I've been wanting to expand my practice. Um, Usually, you guys only see me when I'm online. I practice with 3 different Zen groups. Um, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I'm not always online sharing my meditation practice. Um, but I think if I start doing a morning session and my evening sessions, um, for those of you who may be around on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays, um, I might be able to involve you in my practice a little more. It's not really my place to record and broadcast my weekly Zen practices that I do with these groups. Um, the One Mind Zen on Wednesday, uh, Venerable Unsan, he broadcasts on YouTube and on Facebook too. Uh, so that's kind of, he does that simultaneously, much like I do this one. But that's the whole group. And then the Riverside Zen group and Single Flower. We don't broadcast, though sometimes we do upload the Dharma talks. So that's my plan. I'm going to give this a whirl, see if I can do this as something of a New Year's resolution to broaden my meditation practice to more times a day. Not sure I'll get it every day, but I'm going to try. And we'll see how that goes. So, what I wanted to start off with today was some reading from what I find to be a great book, a bit of an introduction both to Buddhism in general, but especially to Buddhism in America as we practice Buddhism. And it's a book called One Dharma by Joseph Goldstein. And there it is in the corner. And I think he does a wonderful job of encapsulating what we in the West, in America in particular, um, have done to merge the different traditions of Buddhism into a form that is a bit eclectic, but fits our American Western uh, exposure, because we've been exposed in America and in the West in general, in Europe as well as America, but in our non-Asian countries, we've been exposed to Buddhism from Tibetan Buddhism, Chinese Buddhism, Japanese Buddhism, uh, Theravadan Buddhism, and they all play an integral role for many of us in forming our basis of belief and practice. Um, and it created a real dilemma for me. And some of you have heard me say this before. It created a real dilemma for me when I was first practicing Pure Land Buddhism, which I thought there must be something more there. I wanted more meditation time. Um, I was really struggling with my PTSD at the time, and I felt like I needed to meditate more. I did a lot of chanting and some meditation when I was practicing Pure Land, but not as much. So I sought out more meditative type of practice. Um, and I kind of ran into Zen and the Theravadan teacher at the same time, um, but really became torn because I thought I had to choose one. Um, and it led to almost a new crisis of faith, because I couldn't mesh the two. I couldn't make them. I couldn't make them fit. And I think it's because I didn't know enough about Buddhism or about Zen um, at the time. And so it just created a dilemma for me. Um, and I struggled through that dilemma for a long time, several years, 4 or 5 years or so, thinking one had to be right and one had to be wrong. Wow, how dualistic of me, right? Um, and when I realized there's truth there, when I realized there's something to practice there to be gained from both, um, it was awakening to me. And I think it's a similar type of awakening that the author of this book, Joseph Goldstein, had. So I'm going to share just about a third of a chapter, a quarter of a chapter with you, a few paragraphs um, that explains what is one Dharma. Because if you look at my title, I'm always saying one Dharma practice. Um, why do I say that? Because it is a mix. My Buddhist beliefs are a mix, a real mix of Theravadan and Zen Buddhism, which for a long time I called saffron Zen. Uh, but it's more than that. It's one Dharma practice. And Joseph Goldstein has encapsulated this very well. So let me read some of this to you, and you'll see where I'm coming from with this concept and belief of one Dharma. All right, so here we go. So this is from the book One Dharma by Joseph Goldstein. And let me fix my screen here just a little bit. It'll be easier for you to see and me to read. Ooh, not like that though. Perhaps like this. Okay, but I'll need my glasses. Okay. What is one Dharma? 1,000 years ago, a great monk from Nalanda University named Atisha traveled from India to Tibet to help reestablish the purity of the monastic way of life. He was 60 years old when he arrived in Tibet, and although he had planned to stay on only 3 years, he remained there until he died at the age of 72. At one point, Atisha met one of the renowned translators of Buddhist texts into Tibetan, who asked him how best to practice. Atisha replied, "You should find the essential point common to all the teachings and practice that way." One Dharma is just this, experiencing the essential point common to all teachings. But with so many different traditions and schools and ways of practice, how do we go about finding this common essence? Two things help us to accomplish this. First, we need to create a foundation of basic understanding that will support our broader investigation, because most of us have not grown up in a Buddhist culture where the fundamentals of Dharma are taught from childhood. We need to have some depth of experience and understanding in one practice before we can intelligently look for and find what is held in common by many paths. Rushing this process can simply lead to confusion. The second means of realizing one Dharma, which applies even as we are practicing any one particular method, is an attitude of openness to diverse views and a willingness to learn from different perspectives. The great abundance of teachings now in the West offers innumerable styles of practice and systems of understanding. The result is a wealth of skillful means that allows to not only uh, each of us not only to find the particular method that suits our temperaments and aspirations, but also to draw on the richness and depth of many traditions. After we have become established in one tradition, we can then learn from others, understanding that at the heart of them all, there is a common ground that supports our journey to freedom. In the one Dharma of emerging Western Buddhism, the method is mindfulness, the expression is compassion, the essence is wisdom. Mindfulness, the method, is the key to the present. Without it, we simply stay lost in the wanderings of our mind. Mindfulness serves us in the humblest of ways, keeping us connected to brushing our teeth or pouring a cup of tea. The Buddha also spoke of mindfulness as being the path to complete awakening, fulfilling our highest aspirations for happiness and peace. This is the direct path for purification of beings, for the surmounting of sorrow and lamentation, for the disappearance of pain and grief, for the attainment of the true way, for the realization of Nibbana. The expression of one Dharma is compassion. When we are mindful in the present, compassion becomes a natural response to the suffering around us. As we open to suffering, there is a simple and spontaneous movement of the heart to help in whatever way we can. Sometimes it is in small gestures of kindness, sometimes in more courageous acts of care and concern. We can also cultivate compassion as a practice, strengthening this intuitive response within us. Yoshio Ken Rinpoche brought this practice to life in the most simple and direct way. Quote, "I would like to pass on one little bit of advice I give to everyone. Relax. Just relax. Be nice to each other. As you go through your life, simply be kind to people. Try to help them rather than hurt them. Try to get along with them rather than to fall out with them. With that, I will leave you, and with all my very best wishes." End quote. The essence of one Dharma is wisdom. The perfection of wisdom is the light that illuminates our lives, revealing both the causes and the end of suffering. Through mindful attention in the moment, we see the impermanent nature of phenomena and understand the happiness of non grasping. And through non grasping, we experience for ourselves the innate wakefulness of the wisdom mind. It is not enough to know this conceptually or to be satisfied with just brief glimpses of insight. One teaching of the Buddha serves as a profound reminder as we live immersed in the busyness of the world. When we practice, wisdom grows. When we don't practice, it wanes. Wisdom is not something we get and then have forever. Rather, it is an understanding we need to nourish and develop in our lives. The Buddha's way is vast, and the potential for each of us is boundless. But it is up to us to take the next step. That, my friends, is profound, I think. Um, And that's the one Dharma that I believe in. And Joseph Goldstein there says, hey, you got to pick a practice and you got to learn. And when you learn, then you can expand. Um, and the first practice I truly learned was Theravada. And that created the foundation for a lot of my practice, a lot of my compassion, meditation, understanding of the Dharma. And then, and only then, was I able to understand Zen. And now I feel I sit firmly between the two. And that was a struggle for me before, as I mentioned, because I thought I had to choose, and I don't have to choose. And Joseph Goldstein makes that very clear here in this one Dharma book that he wrote. It is our Buddhism of the West. And, I was talking to my Zen teacher, Master Miyoto. What a great teacher she is. But, I was talking to her one day about what we wear these Taoist Chinese style robes. They're Korean robes and Japanese robes, but they're all Taoist in nature. They are not like the robes that the Theravadins or that the Indians in general wore at the time of the Buddha. And I'm like, we're still hanging on to these vestiges of East Asian culture as we integrate into creating this idea of American Zen, American Buddhism, one Dharma of the West. And I asked her, I said, where do you think we're going with this? And we joked a little bit because we have another friend who had suggested denim, blue jean. And that's very American. Do we create a robe like this out of blue jean? Maybe. How do we make it more American? And that's something of my goal. But it's also why I like Five Mountains Zen Order. It's American. And the late Wanji Dharma did a lot to make it very eclectic, much to the chagrin of people of certain traditions who think everything should be in Korean, or everything should be in Vietnamese, or everything should be in Chinese or Japanese, or you got to stay true to this or that. Wanji was lambasted a lot about issues of lineage and issues of what he was teaching and legitimacy. But legitimacy is in the Dharma. And when you're making something from many parts and creating it into an American tradition, not everyone's going to be happy. But the end result's pretty good. I think it was Governor Long of Louisiana who said something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing here, nobody wants to see how sausage is made, but we all enjoy it after the fact. He was talking about making laws, and nobody wants to see how laws are made, but the end result is, usually okay. And sausage is the same way. It comes from some of the worst parts of the animal, but when it's all ground up and made into sausage, then people enjoy it. Um, Buddhism in America has been through a bit of a grinder. And yet here we are now with this great author, Joseph Goldstein, and his book, One Dharma, um, that to me just encapsulates what I believe as an American Buddhist and what I practice. Um, I was telling my teacher, Master Miyoto, I was telling her yesterday that I've become a little bit more Zen than I used to be. I'm more Zen now than Theravadan. Um, and yet the Theravadan tradition still plays an important role in my practice. Um, but the Zen role is eclectic. The great Korean Zen master Sung San said, Buddhism came to China, met Taoism, they got married and had a child and called it Zen. Chan, they would have called it, but anyway, called it Zen. Um, that was an eclectic mix of Chinese culture, Buddha Dharma, with an end result that there's a little bit of both, and a lot of bit of both in the end result of Zen. And that's what we've done in America. We've taken Buddhism, we've taken Zen, we've mixed it all together with American culture and created this American Zen um, in Five Mountain. And I like it. It's open. You want to believe something different from me, you go for it. It's okay, because we have a basis. We have a foundation, as Joseph Goldstein says here, and that is mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. That's the essence of what we practice in America, and that's the essence of Five Mountain Zen. And I'm happy with it, and I hope you will find a Dharma that suits you, um, based on those great teachings of the Buddha. So, enough rambling. I hope, maybe if nothing else, I encouraged you to take a look at One Dharma by Joseph Goldstein. Uh, it's a great book, and I think you'd really like it if you took a look at it. And it's yeah, I was looking to see if I had the cover book for the cover page for it. I don't see it right offhand. Um, if I can share my screen one more time. So here you see it up here in the left hand corner here. Um, One Dharma. That's how the book cover looks. And yeah, you see all the different books that I've been reading. So anyway, something to think about. I think it's a great book, and just wanted to share that with you. So let's sit for a little while, and yeah, we will enjoy our morning meditation. Okay, so I clicked the wrong button there. It said meditation was already in progress. Well, now it's going to be. So let's enjoy our meditation practice. Well, thank you guys for meditating with me this morning. I found it very relaxing. Very much a spring day in the middle of winter here in Southeast Texas. um, but as I mentioned before, I hope I can make this a better practice of mine to increase my meditation practice. So, again, I appreciate you joining me this morning, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you again in the evening. Bye-bye.